So what's going on, everybody? What I'd like to do today is give you a short tour of the brewery and what I use in order to make some beers. The different setup here, the different parts I use. Alright, so basically anytime I start a beer, we gotta start with the recipe, which I don't have that today because we're not actually doing this. This is just a quick tour of my setup. Water source, hot liquor tank, mash tun, boil kettle, control panel, heat exchanger, pump 1, pump 2, various buckets. Now the entire brewery is electric. I like it better than using like propane, but I'll get to that in a minute and show you how that gets distributed. Essentially in my hot liquor tank, which is right over here, I have a heating element that goes back to the control panel. And then the boil kettle also has one right there in the back, you can see it, and it goes to the control panel so I can simultaneously fire both of my elements. And this right here is just a quick look into the hot liquor tank. There you see there's the first element I'm talking about. This here's a heat probe. This goes back to the control panel to monitor temperature. This is where I fill the water in at. And then at the very bottom down there's another probe for the front thermometer and the outlet for hot water coming out to the pumps or wherever I'm taking it. Like I said, that first probe right here for this thermometer. So I have a thermometer on this tank, but I also monitor it electronically. From there, we move to the mash tun. I use a Blitzman mash tun, mostly because I like the way they're designed. They got this nice little lip here, and on the inside, which I'll show you, they have a really nice false bottom that helps keep all the grain behind whenever you go to take it out to go to the boil kettle. All right, as you can see there, this is my mash tun with the false bottom. I like this false bottom because of the way it's designed. You see, it looks like a bunch of quarters with little slits on the side that allows liquid through, but holds back all my grain when I go to mash out. And it's very efficient compared to other ways like screens and stuff that sometimes get clogged. Now some people also ask me or have wondered, why do I have this up elevated compared to everything else? And I do that for my setup. It makes more sense to me. It frees up my pumps so I can use one pump to circulate hot water or one pump to clean, or use both at the same time, and I could still be transferring my mash out to my boil kettle just through gravity. Not to mention, you really don't want to put your mash tun on pressure, like pulling a vacuum on it, because then you might actually start pulling grain through, and you don't want that in your boil. And last but not least is my boil kettle. Again, very basic, no thermometers on this. However, I do have a heat probe in there. That goes back to the panel just so I can see what the temperature is. And then there's another element. It's a bigger element, but it's essentially the same thing as the hot liquor tank, only just a little bit bigger. So that right there is the quick overview so far. Water goes to hot liquor goes to mash tun, water and grain get mixed, gets pumped to boil kettle, and from there we head over to this little thing right here. This is my heat exchanger. Now the way this thing works is really cool. So on one end, I have cold water coming in. So on this end, I actually hook up cold water from a hose, goes in this way, and it filters through every one of these little plates on one side, and it comes out this side. Then on this side, I take hot liquor from here through this pump here. It'll go through a filter, get pushed into here. This is what they call a counter plate chiller. So basically, hot liquid's going this way, cold water's going this way. And what happens as it goes through, the beer comes out cold on this end, out of this thermometer end right here. And hot water is then coming out of the water outlet. So cold water in, comes hot water out, hot liquid in, cold beer out. And this right here is the entire brains of the operation. Without this, I can't control any of my stuff. And I use this panel to both monitor temperature, monitor the time. I use it to control my pumps. There's pump switches down here for pump 1 and pump 2, so I can independently turn them on. And there's 2 switches for my liquor tanks, or my heating elements in the boil kettle and in the hot liquor tank. Now this setup here is running on 50 amp service. So I got one massive cable coming out from here. Right here's the power in. Goes the whole way out, and that gets put into my feed, which is a 50 amp feed. And then underneath here is where all my stuff plugs in. So I got like my hot liquor tank, my boil kettle, the first pump, second pump, and then these are the XLR inputs for the thermocouples inside each tank that picks up the temperature. So this thing here, from here, I control everything. So I can monitor my temperatures, I can get my boil going, I can do whatever it is I might need to do. On the inside here, I'll show you how it works. So basically, here's the back panel with all the controls. So these are all like computer control modules. They're not that expensive, but they basically just do all they turn things on and off essentially. They're like smart relays. Then I got my lights, my switches, and all that good stuff. But here's where it really breaks down. So there's my inlet for the 50 amps. That gets broken down into this relay. Here's a 50 amp relay. That then divides the power through all of these different fuses. And these are here for safety, so if something goes wrong, this will blow out first before I can kill it or electrocute it, in theory. So from there, it then gets split up here to these two SLRs. These are solid state relays. They're able to switch on and off really quick. And what that does is gets fed from these relays over here. One relay for the hot liquor tank, one relay for the boil kettle. Feeds into those solid state relays. This then gets fed out through the power into the kettle, which allows my elements to turn on and off really quickly without burning out the relays. That's how this system works. When I set a temperature, it'll climb to that temperature. When it gets close, it'll turn the power on, turn the power off, turn the power on, turn the power off, until it stays right about where it's set. So that's why those SSRs are there, and they're attached to this really big heat sink, because as they switch on and off, they kind of get really hot. So I have that there to get rid of the heat. All right, so that's basically it. That's the quick overview of my setup and what I got going on. I plan on doing more videos in the future. I want to cover a couple brew days, maybe get into talking about different equipment and stuff for you guys. If you like the video, please like it. If not, that's okay. Comment me below. Tell me like what you use, what you like to do, or what setup are you using. Let me know. Feel free to get a hold of me, and we'll see you guys in the next video.